Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. My name is Philip Gould. I'm a certified life coach. I'm going to be talking to you today about stress management. So first, I want to explain to you, this is going to be a series, and the agenda will be number 1 today. We'll talk briefly about stress management. We will define it and explain it, just a brief overview. Number 2, we will talk about neuro-linguistic programming and how you can change your perceptions. Number 3, we will talk about life coaching. Number 4 is nonviolent communication. You will learn to communicate in such a way as to create harmony and trust between you and your listener. And number 5, we will talk about active listening and rapport building, where you will learn how to communicate in such a way as you can really probe and listen to the other person, to their heart, their soul, and really gain an understanding of where they stand. You can put yourself in their life. So this type of listening will help you really develop trust. And the 6th part of the lecture series will be on appreciation, how to develop the type of appreciation for everything in your life so that you will experience harmony and fulfillment in every aspect of your life. Okay? So first, let's talk about this particular seminar is going to focus on the healthcare industry. In the medicine world that we live in today, I'm sure that you are aware there is enormous stress being placed upon the healthcare workers, our doctors, nurses, ambulance drivers, technicians, healthcare workers in every aspect are being bombarded by difficulties that many never thought they would experience before. So there is a new awareness that is creeping into the minds of many Americans that the healthcare industry needs an overhaul, and I would agree with that. So in the past, doctors, nurses, they were very well balanced, healthy, compassionate, personable, cheerful, open-minded, and extremely caring. And even today, there are millions of doctors and nurses just exactly like that. However, I have heard that maybe 50% of those people are now experiencing burnout, which is a terrible thing. Burnout can cause emotional exhaustion, depersonalization, and a lack of autonomy. It means that these people are experiencing difficulties where they no longer want to go to work. They no longer feel that what they're doing is useful, is meaningful. And they are fatigued physically. They can't sleep. They are trying to cope with this stress, and many of their coping mechanisms are not really appropriate. So we have to ask ourselves, who is in control of the hospitals and the clinics today? Is it the MBAs or the MDs? Many people feel that the bean counters are in control of the healthcare industry. Rather than focusing on care of the patient, and rather than focus on healing and making patients eliminate pain and suffering, they are focused on profits. And this has got to change. So I'm sure that you're aware of this, and I'm sure you agree. Today we're going to talk a little bit about stress management. Stress is defined as a perceived gap between your imagined capacity to deal with an event and your programmed or unconscious appraisal of the potential threat involved in the event. So first we have some event that occurs in our environment. Now we need to respond to that event, and our response will have a consequence. We want the consequences to be harmless, beneficial, helpful. We don't want the consequences to be negative. So the first thing, we have to decide, how do we view that event? Is it really a seriously threatening life and death situation? Or are we just exaggerating? Is it just slightly stressful? Or maybe it's not even stressful at all. It depends on our perception. And the second aspect is we have to look at our capacity. Do we feel competent? Do we feel we are capable of handling the situation? Or do we feel that it's way beyond us? We're just not able to deal with it. So we have our perceptions of the event is outside, and then we have our perceptions of our capacity, which is inside. And when the distance between these two is really great, when there is a large gap, that's when there is stress. And this stress can have physical as well as mental and psychological effects on us. Now, there are many ways of dealing with stress. And just as a broad overview, there are two types of response to stress. The first is called problem-solving response. Here we use logic or reasoning. The second is the emotion-focused response. Here we use feelings. Now we need to discuss the fact that feelings are a resource. They don't always need to be a problem. They can be something that we can use to our benefit. And also, emotions are information. They are not facts. They're just feelings. They're just sensations that we have developed through triggers and patterns and habits in our unconscious mind based on previous experiences. And number 3, we need to realize that emotions are something we have. They are not what we are. We don't have to say things like, I'm an angry man. That's just the way I am. We could say things like, sometimes I become angry. Sometimes I lose my temper. We don't have to say, I'm an anxious woman. We can say, sometimes I feel anxiety. So emotions are something that are fluid. They're like waves from hot to warm to cold. So they have different degrees, and we can learn to control or manage our feelings, manage our emotions, and therefore we can mitigate any negative effects that stress may have. And not all of stress is bad. When you play a basketball game, you feel stress. Hey, I want to make this shot. But that's good stress. It makes you, achieve greatness. It makes you excel. It makes you strive. So some types of stress are good. But sometimes if it's a chronic stress, and if it weighs too heavily upon you, it can have great negative effects. Well, that ends part 1 of this series. Part 2 will be uploaded in 3 days. However, if you want to schedule a free one-on-one coaching call where I will reveal a killer strategy for ending emotional exhaustion, you can just click the link below and it'll bring you to a page on the internet where you can enter your phone number, your email, and then we can schedule a call. Actually, it's a scheduling parameter, okay? It's a platform. And then I can talk to you on the phone for maybe 40 minutes or whatever you want, and we can discuss this more one-on-one, a more human way. It's a coaching call. If not, you can wait for the next video, which will appear uploaded in the next 3 days. Anyway, I want to thank you for listening today. Have a wonderful day, and see you next time. Bye-bye.